I am finally taking the step in placing my first Azure Standard order very soon. So I wanted to share this with you guys. So let's talk about it. Everyone, welcome back to Heartway Farms. You guys are just hanging out with me today with my computer, my list, and my coffee in my dining room. So welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Before I get started on the topic for today, which is Azure Standard, just remember over at heartwayfarms.com, we have all sorts of new products and handcrafted things by my girls and all of these wonderful things. So go check it out. All right, so let's talk about Azure Standard. All of you out there, I know many of you have already placed your orders with Azure Standard, but I have never pulled the trigger. And if you guys have been following us for a little while, you saw that we went to Country Life Natural Foods in Michigan, which is very close to my parents' house, so it was very convenient. They also deliver to many places across the country, but I went and did a bulk, flour and oats and sugar food haul from them a while ago, and that was a wonderful experience. Great people to work with, great company. I really do like supporting them. I think that they're a valuable asset. But this time, I also support, Aldi. You've seen us do the stack ups from there as well. But today, I want to talk about Azure Standard. I've been hearing that name for the longest time, and I finally recently, in the last few months, got on their website, and I read about who they are and what they stand for and what they offer as a company. And I was impressed from up front. I will share this experience with you as I go through it, but I have yet to do a pickup. I'm just creating my first order, and I'm sharing it with all of you in case you are walking through this as well. But I love, I got on their website and I scrolled to, the Who We Are section of their website, and I read about how back in the 50s, when it was super popular all of a sudden to use chemical fertilizer and treating the crops, with all these different things, that was very popular, and everyone started to do it because suddenly you were getting this high yield of crops or products that you could sell. Of course, everyone wants to make money if you're in the business of farming. And that's all good until you see how it affects the food that we eat and how it affects the soil. If you guys have heard us share the story right out this window, which you guys can't see, we have a 7-acre pasture that we just reseeded again this year, and we are 5 years into living on our homestead, and we are still fighting against the soil. It's coming. I feel it. It's coming, and it's going to be great this year. But our pasture, when we moved in and bought the property, it had been rotated corn and soybeans, and for however many years, I don't even know because I don't know all the details, but for a long time. And that made the soil into just garbage, super depleted, not willing to accept any of the good stuff that soil wants to accept. Anyway, so we're still fighting that battle, but we're doing all the right things. We're trying to do it naturally so that that takes more time. So anyway, so I understand that. So back in, and Azure Standard, they weren't really under that name yet, but their family farm got caught in the same cycles, but they saw the negative side of that. And so in 1987, Azure Standard was born, and that's when they made the commitment against the grain and against the popular belief at the time to start producing healthy grains, healthy products, partnering with people to offer these great products to other people. So anyway, I really loved what I read about them. So that's the history of them. Go check it out on their website. See for yourself if that's a company that you want to support. And, we should really get behind those people that stand up for good things and right things, and maybe aren't even always the cheapest, but the people that are trying to do what is right. Okay, when I told you about Country Life Natural Foods, I really do still support them, but I pulled up my computer screen and I did a comparison between Azure Standard, Country Life Natural Foods, as well as Walmart, and I was price checking, apples to apples. So like if I was looking at organic avocado oil at Walmart and price checking that Then I checked it at Azure and so on and so forth. So I was kind of breaking it down. And I was super surprised to find out that Azure Standard beats out Walmart on many of their products. Not all of them, because Walmart is limited on their some of their natural stuff that they offer. But I was very surprised that Azure beat them out. Azure Standard also beat out almost all the time Country Life natural foods. So anyway, again, it's not always about living on the cheap, but you guys know it's expensive to live right now. So yeah, it was nice to find that, okay, I don't mind spending some of my money at Azure Standard because it's a good competitive price. So for this first order that I am placing, I am looking at, I have my list here, so you guys, I just wanted to try some staple items, because this is my first time. I don't want to waste my money. I want to try some of the basic things and see if I'm happy with them. And so first on my list was organic flour. So I hopped on there, and I already, from my Country Life Natural Foods, I already have plenty of spelt flour, so I didn't need any of that. So all I'm looking for currently from Azure is bulk, organic, unbleached, like a white fine flour for breads, for pastries, that kind of thing. I might also look at a whole wheat. I'm still deciding for sure. So I'm looking for flour. I'm looking for cane sugar, which they have, way cheaper than Country Life Natural Foods. They have baking powder that has no aluminum in it. So, and I'm looking at the 5-pound. As far as the pricing goes, I didn't want to spend more they have a bigger size than the 5-pound, but I'm looking at the 5-pound container, and it's a very good price for that aluminum-free baking powder. I want cocoa powder. Again, I think it's 5 pounds. I'm looking at avocado oil, olive oil, some dates. I am looking, these are kind of fun things. So on Sunday mornings, we get up and we get after it, and we have church, we have fellowship that we go to. And bagels are a family favorite that everybody loves. Marie, who's behind my camera right now, she makes homemade bagels. They're homemade pretzels. They're awesome, but you just don't have time for that on a Sunday morning. So I like to have bagels in the house for a quick, easy breakfast. And they have bagels on Azure Standard that are organic. And I think when I did the math, if you buy the bigger package, it's like around $5 per package. And if I can feed my family for $5 for a breakfast, I consider that a win. Sometimes it's cheaper when we're just doing oats, and sometimes it's more expensive. So oats or eggs are kind of cheap breakfast items for us. But bagels, I'm willing to spend $5 for a breakfast. I think that's in the budget, and that works. So I'm going to get some bagels. They have cinnamon raisin and whole wheat that I'm going to buy. And then I also wanted to try, because it was recommended by my friend Stephanie, to try Stacy's tortillas. So they have a bulk package of that. You can absolutely make your own tortillas at home. And my mother-in-law has one of those presses, which makes it way easier. But again, you can freeze tortillas. So I'm gonna buy a bulk package. We love tacos, we love quesadillas. Mexican is in our diet on the meal plan once a week. So I'm gonna get these tortillas and try them out and see how we like them. And then last but not least, a total fun thing, because I watched several videos on what people bought from Azure. And this one lady that I was watching bought hibiscus flower petals, because they sell them in bulk, to make iced tea with, like an herbal iced tea. And I thought that sounded fun. So that's kind of I'm gonna try that and see if we like that. I really like iced tea, sun tea, putting it outside in the sunny weather. And so that was my only really fun thing that I'm gonna get. Everything else are staples in the home. So, okay, I think I shared 10 things, So those are my first order. I would love to hear below. Please comment if you have ordered from Azure. What are your top items that you're like, Annie, go check this out. This is what we love from there. I would love to hear which bulk flours you love and which ones maybe you don't love. Because I learned this lesson one time. We were in Michigan at one of the Amish bulk stores. Great store, but I bought a 50-pound bag of this whole wheat flour, and we didn't like it. It didn't taste good, and it had this weird flavor. It wasn't rancid, I'm not saying anything like that, but it just was not yummy. So I don't want to make that mistake. No food goes to waste here. We have chickens, but still, it's a lot of money when you're feeding a large family. So anyway, so that is my list. That is my starting point. I have these items in my cart, and now in this next part of the video, I want to share some tips and tricks that I have learned from other people going into this order. Okay, I have, waited a while here to, like I said, pull the trigger on ordering from Azure Standard. And one thing I wanted to do, first of all, I asked a friend who I know who orders from there, and I'm like, what do you like? What don't you like? All of these things. And I had to kind of pick my battles because of, also the budget and stuff, because it would, once you guys get on the website, you'll understand, like, you could spend probably $1,000 pretty easy if you just kind of kept putting things in your cart that you wanted, because everything looks amazing. And it just is good quality, healthy, natural things. But as I began to research and investigate, I talked to friends and I watched a couple videos on what people did with Azure Standard and how the pickup works and all of these things. I learned some things, and I would like you guys to let me know if, in your personal experience, if the things that I'm saying are true, false, all of that. I want to hear your input below, so feel free to comment. I was watching a video from the From Scratch Farmhouse, and I really appreciated what she had to say. Her video was from last year, I think, and she had some big mistakes she had made. But I'm just going to turn them, I'm not going to call them mistakes because I haven't made these mistakes yet, so I'm trying to learn from her mistakes and use them for as tips and tricks as I went into my order. So when I first was putting things in my cart for Azure, I assumed that when you put your items in your cart and you hit, checkout and you purchase all that those items, let's say I click on my baking powder, my 5 pounds of my aluminum-free baking powder, and it says, let's say it says 5 in stock or 10 in stock or whatever, that if I bought it and did the checkout process, that would be reserved for me. But apparently that's not true. So let's say my pickup is on a certain day in April, and they cut off, you can only order up until, let's say, the end of March. They give you dates. It says right at the top of your Azure Standard homepage, and it tells you all these things, like when you have to close your order out by, and when your pickup date and your pickup location. And you can order, it's maybe like a week. The cutoff date's like a week ahead. And she said in her video, she's like, hey, you would think that planning ahead and being organized is the way to go with Azure, but it's apparently not. So you really want to set an alarm in your phone and order last minute. So let's say your last day to order is this Friday, you wait till Thursday or Friday and you place that order, because you are getting the most accurate in stock or out of stock information from Azure Standard. So just because you check out does not mean they're holding that food for you. That's not how it works. So that was news to me, and I didn't really naturally think that's how it worked. I hope this is coming across clearly. So order last minute, because then you can view what is actually in stock and what is out of stock. So even just, I think they called it ultra fine or something, unifine organic pastry flour in my cart, and I wanted to get 4 50-pound bags. Well, today I went in there and they are sold out. So now I have to improvise and either find a different flour or move down to the 25-pound bags or move down to the 10-pound bags. And one piece of advice was to be strategic, not only to wait to the last minute to order, but to be strategic what you order. Let's say, again, we'll use the baking powder as an example. You go onto the baking powder, and they have, the small little cans, then they have the 5 pounds, and then they have a larger size. I don't remember what it is, a very large size, very expensive. And let's say in the very large size, they only have 2 in stock, but in the 5-pound size, they have 40 in stock or 300 in stock. Well, then you are pretty safe ordering that 5-pound batch of baking powder, to where if you are trying to get the giant size and there's only 2 in stock, you most likely are not going to get that. So I guess when you show up at your order site, you may not get everything that you ordered. If something was out of stock and they ran out of stock and you're lower on the list than somebody else or whatever, you may not get what you ordered. So that kind of moves on to another tip or trick that I learned about is make sure you are making it worth it for your pickup. So our pickup location is just under an hour away. I haven't driven there, but just with running, maps and stuff, I think it'd probably take me with traffic between 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, that's not too bad for a bulk food pickup. It makes it easier than driving 3 hours to Michigan. However, when you're driving all that way, you want to make sure that it's worth your time, your gas money, right now, and your effort, all of these things. So instead of being like, well, I only want to spend $100 at Azure this month, and then you get there and you realize 3 of your items that you ordered aren't there because they ran out of stock. You want to make it worth your time so that even if you show up and a couple items are not there for pickup, it was still worth your an hour back, your trip to get there. So order in bulk. This one video that I watched, she said instead of ordering every month from Azure, order 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months in advance, like do a big purchase. Okay, so recap, order right before the cutoff date. This is where being someone who procrastinates comes in handy. Number 2, be strategic about how you order. Pick those larger stock items, whatever they have the most in stock. So if they only have a couple of the 10-pound bag, move down to the 5-pound bag, okay? So be strategic how you do that. Order a lot at once so you're not disappointed when when some of your items don't show up. And last but not least, be flexible. I contacted, each pickup site for Azure Standard has someone who is kind of in charge of that location. And on Azure's website, I was able to get an email address when I signed up for a certain pickup location. And I reached out and I said, hey, I'm new. I see that the pickup is scheduled for Wednesday, this date, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all there. And she emailed back and she's like, well, welcome to the group. But she said, just as a reference, she said, by the way, they might say it's on a Wednesday, but sometimes you find out last minute, we're moving it to Tuesday, and sometimes it's in the morning, and sometimes it's at night. And I, again, didn't think that's kind of how things would go. So I was glad that I knew that because I don't have a lot of commitments that I have to be at during the week, but I do have a commitment, let's say Wednesday in the evenings. I have to be somewhere, and I can't really be flexible with that. So when I found that out, I was like, okay, how's this gonna work if they last minute change it to Wednesday at 7 p.m. and I can't get there to pick up my food, and neither can anyone in my family? Well, from the research that I've done, and you guys can let me know if this is accurate or not, but you can reach out to the coordinator or someone else that you meet there. You got to go there the first time probably to meet people, but the coordinator, and say, hey, I really can't make it till tomorrow. Is there a way that you could hold my items for me? And I have heard that most people are willing to help and be understanding about these last minute changes. So obviously, I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I keep saying that, but I'm going to. I set an alarm in my phone for the day before the cutoff date to make this order, to be able to pick up in April. And I'm gonna share the process with you guys. I'll take the camera with me to the pickup in April, and I'll let you know how it goes. I'm already having to adjust the flour that I wanted to order. I already shared that. I had to adjust that, and we'll see in the next few days. I have 8 days before my cutoff. So in the next 8 days, I'll see what goes out of stock, and I will adjust my order accordingly. But once I go do the pickup and I bring everything home, then I want to share with all of you how it went and how we are enjoying the products. So please, again, comment below if you guys have any tips or tricks or things you're like, oh, don't order this, or yes, order this. Please let me know below. I hope this gives some information if you're interested in Azure Standard. We will also leave a link below if you want to go check them out. You can do it through the link below. And I hope you guys have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon.